All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Awesome Radio Network, WECU 1570 AM, 107.5 on your FM dial, Winterville, Greenville, WNOF 1450 AM, 102.3 FM in New Bern. That's right, 1450 AM and 102.3 FM in New Bern, North Carolina. I'm liking this. Rocky Mount. WYLTLP 100.3 FM. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Let's Talk Real Life with Miss Nada Manning. I'm your co-host, Coach Vernon Garrison, and we love you being here today. So thank you for your time. We have a great show planned for you today. So thank you, and don't mind if send us a comment, like, share, subscribe on GPAT23, Facebook and YouTube, Awesome Radio, Facebook and YouTube. Those are the social platforms we carry. All right. Well, without further delay, here's our teacher, Miss Nada Manning. Hello.
Hi, hello everybody. Hello, Coach. I glad to be here again. We want to continue, folks, from last time as we were talking about influencing influencers. And I believe the last comment or statement that was made that may or may not have been addressed wholly or fully, I should say, and that we were talking about BFFs. We were talking about best friends forever. And I had asked a question of Coach about how do you identify the other's position of influence as we identify a BFF. How do you identify who, what, when, how, why the BFF is the BFF? How will that BFF know that they are the BFF? Do they assume it? Do they observe actions? Do they, how? Because everybody's not as attentive as others when it comes to person's body language, person's conversations. Some folks need to be told blatantly, right out, whether they're the BFF or however way you want to address it. So that's my concern because everybody don't catch on the same way. How do you let that BFF know that they are a BFF or your BFF or whomever's BFFs, sir?
Yeah, I got into another conversation with someone else about that, and I told them what I had said recently in the past show about that person becoming that person becoming uh, that BFF just by doing the things that a BFF does. And once you see that that ratio is probably a little bit above and beyond your other friends and associates, because we all have friends and associates that we do confide in, that we do uh, put close to us. Some people that are close to us are not our best friend for life. They are protector, they're providers. They may just do one thing or two things in our lives that we are compatible with. But what that person reminded me of is that the BFF is going to be intentional. You know, let me find another word to say when they're intentional. They intend to do things for you. The BFF is also going to be sacrificial. They're going to give you time that they probably should not give you. That's why it's so important to show your gratitude. You don't know when they had to go. They're going to be late getting home. They got to answer for the time, accountable for the time that they're spending with you. They should be spending it with somebody else. So this BFF person is intentional and without a doubt demonstrating that they are there for you in unique times of your life. The reason that I was saying the label does matter, but the label doesn't define them, is I know people who consider themselves BFFs or friends and associates, but they only act like it in a certain environment. It is what it is. I know people that are married. I've gotten in trouble for not acting like I was married when I was, by acting like, I was acting more friendly to my wife than I was her lover and my partner, my part of my body. So I've gotten in trouble with that, and that's when that time where you are you're having all kinds of problems or whatever, and the world really can't see it, and you're having problems and you're faking it, and you get caught faking it. That's what happened then. So I've gotten in trouble for that, and not just not wearing a red wing at certain times. So your outward appearance and the title, it means something, yeah. And if it is what it means, then that's it. But that is somebody who does have the title because y'all mutually agreed that you're my best friend. And if they reciprocate, yeah, you're my best friend too. So just try that and see what happens.
Okay. Okay. Good answer, but I think I was looking for something more. You explained what a BFF is. I realize that. I know what a BFF is, but some folks out there may not have known. So good answer. But additionally, that BFF, whoever he or she is, how will they know? Not how you presented it or whoever, not how you have presented yourself to them, but how will they know without a doubt that they are the BFF?
Well, check this out. One, they will not be doing those things for you that they're doing if they won't consider you a very high person in your life. Now,
No.
you can tell them you will. Now, I know you have to see both sides of the story as I tell the story or describe this relationship. But if you're the one who's receiving benefits from me, I heard a guy online the other day, and there's memes everywhere. He says, I'm not going to hang around you if you can't make me better and if you can't teach me something. And if I can't make you better and if I can't teach you something, then
what's the point?
What's the point? Now, I heard D.L. Hughley say this morning that someone told him, I'm just not taking credit for myself, that if I can't change the people that I'm around, then I need to change the people that I'm around. So there's all kinds of verbal commitments that you can say that you can say to me if I'm doing certain things with you, for you, next to you, supporting you. You really are a great friend of mine. When you start giving out the gratitude that you probably should, if somebody's doing something that you're the one and only person I can count on. If it's going back,
can they say that? Can they say those words? You are
no,
the
can you say that to them?
Okay.
Yeah, and if you're telling me I'm the one and only person that you can count on in this situation,
well, yeah, then you would be the BFF. But
yeah,
turn the table around.
But you're telling me that, so I know that I'm the one and only person that you can count on. Right. And then when you tell me that I'm your best friend, then I know that I'm your best friend.
Yeah.
That's how I know that I'm your best friend. You telling me that.
So, other words, it works both ways.
Yeah.
That's my point. It works both ways. Okay. Is there such a thing as it being a one-way street? I'm your best friend, folks. You saying, folks, I hope you're listening to us because I know I'm not the only one trying to get this straight.
Yeah.
If I'm telling you that you are my best friend, how am I going to know that you turn it around? If you are my best friend, how am I going to know I'm your best friend? Unless you tell me.
When I tell you.
Right. Until then, it's just guessing.
Well, here's the thing. It could be yes, because I may not have you that close to me in my circle.
Right.
That's
So
right. I may not have you that close to me, or you're just my BFF at work, and we
uh,
don't associate anywhere else in life except at work. That's what I was talking about, the wife situation, in which 99.9% of people out there probably shouldn't have work wives, but it's usually when you see that you're working well with someone and at work, and it happens to be the person of the opposite sex. And you thinking in your mind, well, I'm just working great. We got a great system going in here, and it's based on the workplace communication, not what you and you. I guess if you say that's my work wife, then you could be comparing the way that you communicate with her to the way you don't communicate with your wife, or the way you do communicate with your wife.
so
So
there's a such thing as having different kinds of BFFs.
yes, 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 and
Ah,
some are accepted, and some are permissible, and some are not. If you go online right now and you pull up people who will accept the fact that your girlfriend has a male, then you're gonna get 1,001 people say, "Oh no, she
mhm.
ain't having no male friends, especially no ex as a male friend." You're gonna open all of this. So those are the BFF things. Those are the situations out here today that you do have to draw a line and tell somebody where they are in your friend group. So I applaud you trying to now think about the bigger picture, where people are in your life. Here's another inverted way to figure out where somebody else is in your life. Is there's a phrase that it took me a while to catch on to it, and it says, um, "If you're not invited, don't go."
If you're not invited, you weren't. They didn't want you there.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that, but I would say that may not be the place for you. Let's say it's you. I may invite you to a guy's event, or I might say, "Well, yeah, you're welcome to come," and you just as curious about where I'm going. You're just as curious about who's going to be there. And I said, "Well, you wonder why I didn't invite you." But it may not, if this is all male, or if it's all another profession, uh, and you'll be just sitting there like a bump on a log, or you just don't match. You would come and you would outshine the king.
Okay, let's talk about
And
influences now.
yeah,
Okay,
if an influencer went into the wrong environment, then they could outshine the person that brought them there, or they could outshine the people that are there.
that's the influence part,
Yeah,
which can be intentional or unintentional.
yes, it
It,
can be.
right. You just going. You just invited. You just going there to be yourself. You wasn't trying to start nothing, but again, the apricot, the pot is stirred up once you step in the room. Once that spoon is in that pot, and all you doing is standing there. The spoon is
Yeah,
just in the pot. You ain't stirring nothing.
right,
But whatever is in that pot is getting stirred up because you're in it.
right.
Make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does. It
Okay.
does. And I may or may not invite you. That doesn't mean you're not my best friend. It's just the way people communicate in society now. Social roles and status has a lot to play with the content and the discussions.
Yeah.
You can tell if an all ladies event or a usual ladies event and a lady brings her husband. That's just he's sitting out there in the car. Uh, I was uh, I was the executive director over a particular agency one year, and this lady had a boyfriend. This cat came to work with her 2 or 3 times a week and sat in the car most all the day.
Why?
Yeah, just sat. I would walk out and I see the seat laid back, and I would see this guy. Then I come back from lunch, and I see him in that car. So I don't know what was going on, but you fit in certain situations, and we have statuses with each other, and that's where the BFF is. And that BFF is the mutual influence in your life that's very powerful. Handle them with kid gloves. And now that Ms. Nada is talking about this, make sure that they know what quadrum they're the BFF in your life is all about. I was making fun of a lady counseling another lady whose husband cusses her out all the time. That's why I was laughing at the end of the last show, because I was doing this little skit inside my head, and I was basically saying some people, you really got to be aware of the position you have in their lives when you tell them to leave their spouse. When you give them certain recommendations, you really got to turn the tables and really go into what you're saying, because even you got to check out if it's a life or death situation. Sure, they got to get out of there. That's the advice I give. The moment you start to hurt each other physically, you got to go. And now you got to go. And if God tells you otherwise, I got you. But I'm going to say, humanly wise, you got to go. I'm going to err on the side of, I ain't tell you leave your husband forever. But when he start laying hands on you and he ain't praying for you or as intimacy, then we got a problem, because he's messing up my neighborhood. He's messing up our lifestyle here in Eastern North Carolina. And even if he go to jail, he's making all the kings look bad. And so these kings got to understand, to put your hand on a queen, that's not what we all need to look like. We ain't but a few of us out here. Some of us are kings, and some of us are acting like kings, and some of us are becoming kings. So you're putting your hand on your wife, you're doing certain things in crime. We're all connected. So I would say leave. But anyway, you got to be careful in how you identify with yourself as a BFF in a very powerful position. Even if you might not get called on to go out with them or to fellowship them once a month, twice a month, they might only call you when they need you. No, you said something earlier. Could it be one-sided? That's just downright out manipulation. Because I'm keep getting and getting and getting from you, and I'm not putting back anything that I'm getting from you. And then you're gonna figure it out one day, and it's gonna break your heart. Well, you got to know that everybody can't give equally, and everybody shouldn't give equally. Everybody can't give equal to your contributions, and everybody shouldn't be trying to measure themselves up to you and give what you give. But everybody should be themselves. And me as myself, I should be valuable to you. I should be as valuable to you as a human being can be in an appropriate setting. That's just so I may give just a little bit, and the equity of that, what I've given, just giving you the key to my car. You know how much that car means to me? And it's halfway running sometime. So if I let you get the key to that Honda, that's more than giving the key to a limousine, because it's the only vehicle that I got rolling right now. So that, you see how that, so the value of your life and that other person's life is going to be almost equal. And then you shouldn't be helping someone based on what they have. What do I mean by that? If they don't have $100 and you're going to give them $200, you see the problem right there? They don't have that $100 to pay you back. So why are you giving them money based on what they have? Give them money as a gift, and you don't have to worry about it. Give them money out of somebody else's cistern or river or stock house or storehouse, Then you got me to worry about, and then you got them, the fact that they're not going to pay you back and they can't pay you back. So I would rather give you $50 and not expect anything back than give you my last $100 and then jeopardize our relationship. So this thing has got to be balanced and fair to you, and they got to be balanced and fair from their position. I ain't got nothing to do with it. $50 won't be enough to pay everything. I'm not the only person in your life, is what I'm saying. But anyway, that's a element of a relationship between a BFF. And a lot of times they do bargains like that go well, cover for each other, give money to each other. Some BFFs can wear the same clothes, same shoes. Yeah, they can trade cars, sleep over at their houses, family cookouts all the time. So, anyways, that's my take on that BFF. You got any more enlightening questions about that?
I just wanted some clarity because I know I wasn't the only one that was totally confused. But good breakdown. I appreciate it. Thank you. I think that many people out there that are listening have a better understanding now and thinking about their BFFs.
Yeah.
Or they're what they used to be, because they don't always last forever like it's supposed to. Whatever happens, happens, and it breaks it up. And so a lot of them out there are probably saying, okay, now what is the influence of once was a BFF and now is no longer? How is that influencing that person who have the loss and their way of thinking about, because the BFF is a very, very important person in lives. They don't come a dime a dozen. That's why they say when you get one, you should treasure it and not abuse it. And that clarity that you gave, that understanding about what the BFF's role is on both sides, that's important information. It's critical to keep it going. You were going to say something?
Yeah, I was saying there are data that shows how long you'll keep a friend if you meet them in high school, or if they were a childhood friend. Will that childhood friend become a life? If you're a high school friend or you're a college a friend, how long that person will stay in your life. So you can Google those things, and the likelihood. A lot of people. I just left a couple earlier, and they were known each other since they were 13. And they're married now 28 years. So they've been married longer than they've been grown together. So whatever that term they just used. So yeah, it's very, 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 very complex, but knowing, it takes two. Yeah.
It definitely cannot be one-sided. But clarity is important. Anyway, I was talking about some influences, building up one another, which is what we were just sharing a few minutes ago in that scenario. When that just go back to the BFF again, and those friends, period. Don't have to be a BFF. It can just be a good friend, someone, a very close acquaintance, if you will, can build into a BFF. It's kind of like baby steps, building up one another with those things. Now, while we're in the building up process, we're talking about influencing now. Those influencers, the level above levels, I would say you have your. I love to use teacher-student relationships. You have your students, you have your teachers, you have your counselors, and you have your principal. Then you have the whole board of education, okay? Now, each level up would be an influencer of the level below them, right? The teacher would be an influence to that student.
Right.
Okay? The principal is influencing the teachers. So kind of like a triple effect, you go down to the levels. So now, building up that relationship with these students, we all know that some students are not at the level they're supposed to be in. Okay. The question is, oh, I forgot the parent level. But anyway, that influence that student is getting at any grade, 10th, 11th, 12th, 1st, 3rd, whatever grade it is, 6th, 7th grade, they're all going to be influenced but one way or another by their teacher. Either the teacher is going to help them to do better and mold them like they're supposed to learn, or it could be a process. The influence there is what? We're building up one another's influence at different levels. If you're going to build that student up, that student have to take some type of responsibility to be built up. In other words, they have to be willing, like we adults. If we want to be influenced, we have to be willing to take the bitter with the sweet. That influence level is not always going to be sweet going from point A to point B. It's going to be some ups and downs. It's going to be some things you don't like. So that influence part is what? If you're going to be influenced, what are you going to do with that bitterness or that bitter part that happened? Are you going to learn from it? Or are you going to remain stuck in that part, in that particular section, and not be able to? The influence there is up to what? The teacher, the student, or both? The teacher would be,
Go ahead.
The teacher would be, and it could be a parent-child relationship. The parent can see that that student or that child is not at its potential, is not at its level. We want to influence that student or that child to know that he or she can do better. You don't have to stay where you are. So the influencing part comes from both the teacher and the parent. That student is trying to do or they're not trying to do. The influence part is teacher, parent, principal. We're in a role where we are supposed to influence those students. This is what you need to do to get over here. That influence level, we have to give them some examples. Now, some of those examples are very bitter because they have what? Outside influences. That's another thing. Influencing from the outside of their realm, outside of that circle between the teacher and the student. You have those other students out there, that the peer pressures. That's the outside influencers. Influencers is not at any particular level. They could be at the same level, but they are influencing one another. Is what I'm saying making any sense?
No, it does. And I think the thing that I hear you saying, but you're not saying it because you're not on that point, and that is, I'm complimenting what you're saying. The teacher-student relationship is a relationship based on discipline. And I think the word school, if you look it up, I think the other word for school and learning is discipline, or it's a metaphor, a way to describe school. So you guys Google that, check it out. That is establishing a pattern, establishing a framework where that pattern, where that teaching, or that lesson, or that wax on, wax off, where that's going to be implied to where a student is not only learning through whatever learning curve they have. Let's say their learning curve is listening and watching demonstrations. They're also getting muscle memory, coaching involved, the intensity of the teacher,
so
the body language.
Who's
say again?
Where is the influence there?
The influence is coming primarily from the teacher because the teacher has the new information. And the teacher needs to get the student prepared to receive the new information, or prepared to usher and coach that student into using. There's ways of measuring progress. That's an exam. That's the test. There's ways of measuring a lack of progress, and all of these are based on the environment that teacher put that student in.
Okay, let's use a game, a basketball game.
Yeah.
Or football game, one of those sports where you have the coach, you have the teacher, you have the student. That student is very much into that game. Most of the team players, the team players are into the game. most of them. I would say 99% of them. You might find one that can take it or leave it, but they're there because they need to have the points or whatever. The influence that the one that you can correct me if I'm wrong. There's always one or two that's going to be, quote unquote, the star of the game. At least one or two or more.
Exceptional athletes.
Yeah, going into it, they all in it. They just giving it their full force. That's what they like to do. They're doing exceptionally well.
And they're naturally talented above
Yeah,
average.
yeah. They don't, and sometimes they're very hard because naturally talented. So there are the influencers, right?
They definitely have influence, but they may not have the title.
Right. So those that are under them, that's striving to be all in, they got the mind to do it, but they just can't seem to get it. Something is missing. They need to practice more, something. Those are the ones that's being influenced by the influencer, which is the top player, right?
I like what you said. That you did that good because I never thought about this. The players that aren't playing at that level are being influenced by the influence of another athlete. That person may not have that position. In fact, their influence, if you hear a lot of young star athletes, some of them can be arrogant. I'm the number one on the team. Their influence because they're self-centered.
Right.
That's up to the head coach to manage that type of behavior, so you won't have an arrogant person.
Right.
That the team is relying upon. They don't like the person's personality, but they're relying upon them, and they can't play without that person, so they lose when that person is not available anymore. So there's some influence going on there, but other people, they're just receiving the influence. But yeah, they're influencer.
Okay. So I was just putting it at that level because we are talking about influencing. What's the top? Influencing the influencers.
Yeah, to me, that's a position. I'm not going to give a star athlete a position of an influencer. Now, he is one, but I'm not going to give him a position unless I let him be team captain.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
But as far as he's not a coach.
Right. Yeah. Right. So do you agree then that while we are trying to influence others in whatever the position is,
right,
while we're trying to influence them, whether it be intentional or not, do you agree that sometimes influences are unintentional?
Yes.
Do you think that those unintentional influences are more effective than the intentional ones?
Sometimes.
Okay, I was gonna say it depends. Yeah, sometimes.
Because you got somebody at work that is under you and they acting like they're the boss.
Yeah.
That's somebody can go to them and get answers. They're not supposed to be going to them to get answers. A lady mentioned a situation to me probably about 3 months ago. I knew more than the supervisor. All the workers was coming to me. They were asking me the questions, and the supervisor was jealous. And it wasn't I didn't have nothing to do with it. I'm totally innocent. I didn't do nothing wrong. So I had to tell a grown woman that I respected well in the business world, I had to tell her that she was wrong. Because you don't outshine the master. You were not in that appointed position, and there was undermining the authority of the true person that was in place that's responsible. And also that person that is the supervisor also has the liability of that employee, their growth, their failure, their salary, their performance appraisal. But here you come, you got way more experience than that they had. And you've done the job for 20 years, and now you're there as some type of fake manager. fake source of information just because you know more than the head person does. You were out of pocket.
Right. So
So
that influence at that with that example you just gave, that particular lady that was quote unquote a wannabe manager, she influenced those subordinates.
yeah, she didn't see nothing wrong with it though.
Right,
She, you know,
right, right, right. So that right there is definitely a negative influence
and
because
she didn't want the job, but she didn't want that other person's job, by the way. Yeah,
uh-huh.
yeah.
But she played the role though.
She played the role that undermined the role and responsibilities, even if they didn't clash.
Yeah.
You still got somebody's philosophy and methodology under you, or that somebody's philosophy and methodology that they're using under you that you're not sure what it is. How was she teaching them? How was she advising them? Oh, she was advising them that I was supposed to do this and I was supposed to do that and not her. That's what she was doing.
I would say that is clear division as a result of influencing others.
Mm-hmm.
She caused division between the subordinates, herself, and the manager that was over her.
Yeah.
She caused that division in that, and it was negative because she was out of place. It caused whoever the manager is to have to put her in her place. And meanwhile, the employees are just standing on the side watching the wannabe and the real manager resolve the issue some kind of way. So it created some division between the roles, is what I'm saying.
Now, and what happens is if this is an organic situation, those people will look up. Let's using myself for an example. When I work 9 to 5 jobs, usually I'll draw a lot of attention because I don't know how to sit down. I don't know how to take a short break. I don't know how to not ask questions about how this works and how that works. So it makes other people that's working next to me who just do their job and do it well, 8 to 5. They just look at me like, dude, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to be manager? Are you trying to be supervisor? What are you trying to do? You trying to make us look bad? So
I was trying everybody.
even in your righteousness, like an old Baptist preacher, even in your righteousness, you can be arrogant.
Yeah.
You can be a show off and haven't done anything wrong. And I've done that so many times that I didn't know I was doing it. I went in production one year and I was running this machine and running that machine. And then the next thing you know, I could do 2 machines. Next thing you know, I could do 3. I get this one going, put the part in there. Because I was in college, man. I was thinking at my best thinking. Put this machine in there, and I was working at night too. Put that one in there, watch all of them run. Get that one, boom, like I'm playing drums. Everybody sitting there watching me make production go up.
Your intention was to what?
My intention was just to do the best I could at that job.
Produce.
But I did not get into the culture. I didn't get in harmony with the rest of the team. So my influence was garbage. Now I had one that I had to do 12 per hour. Now the man done raise it up to where now I got to do 24 per hour. So now what do you think the other person on the other shift behind me thought when I raised the production?
Right.
From 12 an hour to 24.
You were not their BFF, that's for sure.
No, sir. I was just as foolish as I could be. So we got to rely on our coaches. We got to rely on our mirrors. We got to be able to accept constructive criticism in love. We just have to if you look at a lot of documentaries on Michael Jackson and how he casted his visions that people had never seen, he did stuff that didn't come out of the conscience of human beings at all. So I had to watch this person. He would have some of the best musicians in the world. Can you imagine? But each time he corrected them or he was showing them how to do something, they paid attention. And still, when they weren't doing it like he said, which not many people on earth would be doing it like they have ever heard it before, he said, I love you. I love you. Using his little soft voice that he used intentionally. Yeah. I love you. Because you knew that if you worked for this guy, this is one of the most original people on earth, and you do what he said. And even in his admonishments and telling them to speed that up, slow that down, he was a master at that. You should treat your friends and your students, and students should treat their mentors and teachers with that much reverence. And I think we will get more out of ourselves in the Black community when we reverence and we savor. Mm-hmm. If a person says 10 things, 5 be silver. Yeah. The other 5 could be gold. You will never hear the golden ones if you shut me down. Oh, he don't know what he's talking about. He just got that position to sit in that office and wear a tie. If you shut me down, you won't get. Let me say something about African Americans, since the country's on color right now. You king, you queen, got more in you than the earth has already created. We have more in us that can come out. So if we keep looking back and fighting over what's in front of us, we won't realize, hey, you want me to pursue something else? I got you. We'll shut our creativity down, but God has given us these gifts. Yeah. You can't shut him down.
No, we can try, but it won't work.
I'll create something else that'll make this earth go crazy.
Yeah.
If you want me to get you to the next universe, there's probably a Black man that could get you to the next universe. They keep trying to go. They ain't just asked the right Black man yet.
Probably because they don't want to, right?
Well, you know, they want to monetize everything, different races and cultures and class conflicts. Yes. If I ask you for the answer, I got to pay you for it. I can't just steal it like I used to. Just talk you out of it. You know, you can't now. Those countries in Africa, they ain't going for that. All these countries that built themselves off of resources from Africa and had these contracts, they said, no, forget that. This is our gold. In fact, the gold you took is ours. All the people that looted Africa and got all of those artifacts and all those statues, the World Art Organizations now on the black market are snatching those things and saying, give them back to those nations in Africa where they came from. And it's not hard to figure out where they came from. So we got what we got, and we got more of it. You got more of it. Go to sleep tonight and wake up and pray and ask God to give you something that'll change the earth. It's possible that you could wake up in the morning with new inventions, new procedures, and say, oh, that's just a thought. It wasn't just a thought. Stop it. So we treating each other as teachers and students and leaders? No, we're not. We are the cream of the crop when it comes to managing this earth and what's on it and how to live on it. I don't know. You can debate me if you want, but everybody ain't from this earth. You know, I say that, like, I'm gonna say it one more time this year. I just don't. Now, I don't want to argue with nobody about that, but everybody's not from this earth.
Are you done?
Yeah.
I don't think too many people want to hear that earth stuff.
I know, right?
Because that makes them wonder, okay, we're not all from this earth, then where are you from, sir? So See, since you keep saying we're not all from this earth, but we all are from somewhere. That's for sure.
I was born from my daddy.
All right.
That's where I came from.
Okay. Having said all of that, we have a few minutes left on the air, and I wanted to bring up some about this influencing influencers. A lot of anger built up. That example that you gave earlier about the lady stepping out of her lane. Samples like that can also cause some bitterness and anger among onseers that are looking. I guess that's a good word to use, on those that are looking, the surrounding environment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're looking and listening, and so if they're in cubicles like government workers used to be, or probably still are, you can hear the conversation across the cubicle. It's not a great big block of concrete cement where you can't hear. Whatever is being said or done, even if you can't see it, you can hear it. It have a tendency to influence our way of thinking, which brings to mind that example that you gave with that lady stepping out of her lane. Now, that could have been handled the opposite way and nothing would have been said, and she would have kept right on doing it. But how is that influencing her peers?
Well, if the boss comes to you and says, help those people, then you are anointed to do it. You are knighted on both shoulders to go forth and preach and teach. It doesn't work though. I have the authority and I have to consent to something like that happening. And you have to get permission.
Yes.
And it would have been all right if I say, Miss Nader, is it all right if I help these rest of these students? Or you got some kind of harmony and you match us up. And then we know we got the subliminal permission.
Right. But it makes the people looking and listening feel some kind of way. Well, what in the world is going on here? What kind of office is this? Who's running this? Well, how do they get to say this and that and the other and do this and that and other and nobody does anything? Well, it causes disgruntled employees. And that in itself is an influence. Because why? It's a negative influence because those subordinates that's listening to all of this, many of them would just pack up, jump ship, and go somewhere else. Some of them will, not all of them. Some of them would just tune them out. So what I'm saying is, as we influence influencers, there, and I think you said it earlier, there's a way to do it. As it is with anything, there's a way to do everything. We have to do it carefully because we supposed to be building people up. Okay. If you're going to build them up, then why would you out and out deliberate do stuff that you know is going to cause confusion among the folks? It does not make a good workplace. What's the final product? You're supposed to be producing something in that office, either a product or a service or something. And it's interrupting all of that because of one person stepping out of line. And that's all it takes is one person to start stuff. So that influence is critical. We want to be positive influences. I think that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to that. So as we move on, I don't know if we're going to do a part 3 of this influencing influencers, or what do you think?
Well, we got a couple of more that I'd like to hit. You know, maybe the spiritual influencer, our pastor, our leader, and maybe law enforcement. I'd like to hit something social because they're influencers that have authority in our lives, and the pastor and a government official can literally change our life with a spoken word.
Yeah. As it is already going on.
Yeah.
Influencing in various ways. So, okay, then, folks, we're going to, Coach said it'd be good to do a part 3. So we're going to go with part 3 as we continue to talk about influencing the influencers. And keeping in mind, it's not always the influencers don't have to be at the top of the line, top of the ladder. You can be an influence at a lower level, as we said. So we want to continue on. And if Coach has nothing else to say, it's a lot more to be said, but we want to just leave it at that. And thank you all for being with us as we start this now a Christmas season, the month of December. I hope that you all will be some influencers out there in a positive way as we go through the season and be able to lift one another up, because there are times in our lives where the seasons are not always good for everybody. So somebody need an extra hugs, extra attention, an extra good word, all of that to kind of lift them up. Be that influencing person to help someone else by your actions and your words. It can go a long way. And with that being said, I want to just thank you all for listening to us as we move forward. And until then, Father God, thank you for this time. Thank you for being who you are in our lives. Thank you for continuing to anoint this show as we continue to try very hard to be influencers for those who are listening. In Jesus' name, with your help, Lord, we can't do it without you. Amen.
Amen. Awesome Radio, WECU 1570 AM 107.5 FM, Winterville. All right. And the latest 1450 AM 102.3 FM, New Bern, North Carolina. There's a couple I wanted to mention. Thank you. Love you guys. Have a great rest of your day.
All righty. Till next time.